Welcome to The Worthy Woman, a podcast for the intuitive, ambitious woman who's ready to regulate her nervous system, reconnect with her body, and rise to the next level of success, health, and purpose. I'm your host, Jo, manual osteopath, holistic coach, and nervous system guide, here to walk with you as you heal from the inside out and create a life and a business that actually feels good. On this podcast, we explore the connection between your body, emotions, subconscious patterns, and your ability to lead, create, and live from your worth. Let's get into today's episode. Welcome back to another episode of The Worthy Woman. If this audio is not as clear, it is because I'm having to use headphones to record this and on my old phone. It's been a wild week of technology things. Mainly like a wild, we'll say 12 hours of technology things. Yesterday had, I got a new phone. I also realized that my microphone that I typically use that I've had for the last 4 or 5 years. So it's done really well because it's I want to say I spent max $40 on this thing. It crapped out on me. So it's cutting in and out. I think it's because it has a cord. So the cord I think has been kind of wrapped up or crumpled up too many times. So it's losing its juice on me here. But until I get a new microphone, I'm having to improvise here. And then yesterday I got a new phone and our Wi-Fi started being weird at home. We've been kind of transitioning some of our, the packages that you have for your internet and your phone and stuff. So anyway, so we changed our internet. We got a new modem, but then we didn't know why we needed a new modem. And then it ended up being that it got really slow. And then that was delaying my phone from transferring all my stuff from my old phone to my new phone. And then it took a million years. I think my phone was transferring and updating for 3 hours last night. It was crazy. So, yeah, needless to say, I'm actually recording this on my old phone again because of my headphone situation and my microphone situation. Because of course I had an iPhone 12. I've had it for 4 years basically. So I was well over being due for one, a new phone, but now the ports are different, right? So it's the USB-C on the new iPhones versus the old ones were, I don't even know what they're called. So anyway, it's been a whole thing. But we're making it work and I will be getting a new microphone hopefully tomorrow as I'm recording this. But I wanted to come on here and record an episode for you. And today we are talking about 7 different side effects that you'll get as a result, that you'll get in your business as a result of having a regulated nervous system. So I find, and I do this myself, we always talk about the negative things, what's bad, what we're tired of experiencing, right? But there's actually so many wonderful things that can happen and can start to happen in your business when you've actually learned how to regulate your nervous system in your business. Okay. And so I wanted to give you some examples, and these are just a few. It can show up in a lot of different ways. And obviously it depends too on what you're maybe struggling with. But there's so many wonderful things. And it's interesting. I'm a person where I still have a lot of money goals, financial goals, but my business and the way that I operate in my day-to-day life with my business has changed dramatically over the last 5 years. And even just that in itself makes me feel so much better about where I am now versus where I used to be. I don't even actually know how I used to be that person 5 years ago, running around like a chicken with their head cut off, because I actually am I don't know how I kept up with it. I don't know how I even did it. And I think as I look back, I realize so much more of how dysregulated I was, and I'm still not perfect, right? I'm still struggling with certain elements in my journey, but I have made a massive shift in specific areas, right? And it's a process, it's a journey. Life isn't going to not have stress, as I say all the time. Business isn't going to not have stress. And it's not about removing the stress, but when we learn how to handle the stress better and we are able to properly navigate it and properly move through the stress cycle, and actually exit it at some point, not get stuck in the loop, you're going to notice so many good things in your life start to happen in a different kind of way. So I wanted to go through some positive side effects of actually having a regulated nervous system, of things you can start to look forward to by doing this work. So the first one, which is probably one of my favorite ones, is more free time. So having a regulated nervous system means that when you are doing things in your business, whether it's content creation, specifically content creation, but also just like sales processes, and maybe it's like things you're learning, or even creating, like if you're creating a course or you're creating a product or something like that, you're going to be able to focus. And so being able to focus on the task of the thing that you're doing is going to help you be more efficient with your time and your energy. Because when you can actually focus, you get things done in a shorter amount of time, right? It's more focused, dialed in work. I don't know about you, but I have had where I will be like distracted thinking about all kinds of different things. You know, maybe I'm working on a project, but then I'll like hop over to Instagram and scroll for a little bit, and then I'm back doing the project, and then I'm thinking about content, and then I'm thinking about this. And it takes me all freaking day to do something I probably could have done in like 20 or 30 minutes. You know what I mean? So if we can focus ourselves and have the attention span that we get with regulation, we're going to have way more free time. We're going to have free time to do whatever we want to do with that free time. If you want to work more, you can work more. If you want to take a rest, you can rest. If you want to pick your kids up from school, you want to read a book, you want to have a bath, go for a walk, whatever. But you're going to get more space in your day just by being more efficient with your time and your energy. And you're going to burn yourself out less as you have more like focused work or focused blocks. You'll hear even people talk about like time blocking. Oh, I have an hour every day where I focus on this. That lets them be more efficient. So instead of spending 4 hours on content because they're all over the place, they get to spend one specific hour on content, and it's focused work and it's effective work. Number 2, you are going to be less reactive to things going wrong, whether that's in your business or your life or both. So your system will actually start to know how to handle the ups and the downs of your business and your life, meaning your nervous system, right? And you're also going to have the tools to support yourself throughout the tough times. So like I had said in the beginning, before we got into these points, your nervous system should be able to ebb and flow. It should be able to go into stress, experience the stress, and then come out of the stress and go into rest. And the easier it is for our system to go into each space, the more we are going to be adaptable, flexible. We are going to have a bigger capacity for things going good or bad, right? We're not going to be on this roller coaster so much of emotions anymore. And that's because we are, again, adaptable and flexible in our nervous system. When our nervous system's like stuck in a state, which typically is a stress state, like the sympathetic system, when it's stuck there, we're not flexible. And then everything that we do frustrates us. And then we feel like we're just like pushing against this invisible wall. Right? And so when we can be adaptive in our nervous system, it allows our emotions and our coping skills and our solutions to be more adaptable as well. So we're going to be way less reactive to things. Just think of even like whether it's yourself or your parents or people you know who have children, right? And when you're stressed, you're way more snippy, you know, like you're way more like barky you're barking at people, right? Maybe it's at work, right? You're barking at people when they get things wrong and they do something wrong, and now it's made a mess of things. And we can be very snappy at people. And that's because our nervous system's dysregulated. We're not in a space where we can have the capacity to handle the challenges that come up. So that's a big one, especially if you are finding yourself you're very much like a hustle mode, overachiever, like the archetype, the overachiever, which is fight mode. If you're kind of in that go, go, go type of energy, you'll probably find yourself in like being very reactive a lot of the time. Number 3 is that, it's so funny, I just did the number 2 sign, but number 3, you guys can't see that, but you're going to be more consistent in showing up. So you are going to get to show up more consistently because you have the energy and the capacity, and it's no longer screaming danger to your body to show up all the time. So I cleared some stuff earlier in the year, this year, back in like, I want to say it was around February. And was it this year or was it last year? I can't remember what year it was, but it was definitely that time of year. But I had cleared some fears and some blocks, we'll say, around showing up online. And I have been the most consistent and the most like present on my social media this year that I've ever been. Normally I was a person who would like start doing stuff, and then, you know, I'd start posting stuff, I'd do whatever, and then it would happen for a month or two, and then I'd kind of fall off the wagon, and then I wouldn't post anything for like 4 months. And that I knew was a challenge and a struggle, because it wasn't so much about like, I felt like I need to be posting every day, but for me, it was like, I know I need structure in my business for people to know that I exist, right? For people to know that my products exist, my offers exist, that I exist, that I do things with people. Like so many people in my life didn't even know I did coaching stuff, right? So by clearing these things, working on my nervous system, because I've also done a ton of energetic work this year, and I've been able to show up more consistently because of that. It doesn't feel scary. It doesn't feel safe. I also have more creativity, which is another point here that we'll come to, but I have more creativity. So I'm able to actually like come up with ideas, have inspiration, and that sort of thing. So consistency, which so many times in business, I see people like struggling with consistency. And I feel like a lot of times, especially in the marketing world, there's this like push of like, oh, well, you gotta do more. You gotta post on stories more. You gotta like, post every day, you got to post this type of content and do this and do that and do this and do that. And like, oh, by the way, here's like 72 apps that you can be on. And I feel like there's not a lot of people that get asked about like, okay, well, why do you feel like it's hard for you to show up on socials? Why do you feel like it's hard for you to show up in your business? What's preventing you from being consistent, right? And so it's important to ask ourselves those questions. Number 4 is making space and enjoying hobbies. So kind of piggybacks off of that first one about the more free time. But when you have a regulated nervous system, you're going to have more space and more time to actually enjoy the things that you like to do. So you get to basically have a life that doesn't revolve around your business, right? You get to have a business that doesn't take up all your time and your energy. And I know for a lot of us, we get into business because we want to have that free time. We want to have that space. And a lot of times we end up working way more than we should be or way more than we would if we just worked a regular frickin' job, right? But we do it so we can have the space, have the time, have the family time, and then it kind of backfires us in a certain way. And so we have to, again, working on your nervous system is going to allow you to like feel like you can take a break, allow yourself to take a break, know that it's important to take a break. allow you to do a hobby, go to a family thing, have fun with your kids on the weekend, go to your friend's house on the weekend, and actually enjoy it and not be thinking about work and be glued to your phone or your laptop or whatever 24/7. Because I know I was this person where I was like, I was doing work every waking day. And if like, even just to take one day off on the weekend was like, oh, what do you mean? My to-do list is like a mile long. I have shit I got to do. Right. And so you're going to feel like you can actually take the space, take the time, because you're not so ramped up about work and business. You trust it. You trust your timing. You trust how you feel about it. You know that like, this is important too, right? And that you also know that, okay, if I take a space and take time away from my business, not everything's going to fall apart. What are we here? 5, you will manifest things quicker. So your vision board, your income goals, dream clients, everything's going to start to come in quicker and faster. And part of this is, and I talked about this, I can't remember if it was the last episode, about like the embodiment piece. And when we are in alignment with our nervous system, meaning we're able to regulate, we have capacity, we naturally feel better, we feel calmer, we feel more aligned, we have the clarity to feel like we're moving in the right direction, we feel good about our decisions, we can actually make the decisions. All of these things start to kind of like fall into place, we'll say, when we have a nervous system that is functioning properly and is able to do the job that it's supposed to be doing. We're going to be able to attract things so much faster. And I'm going to be diving into a little bit more about this on the podcast and in my content in general about this energetic side of business, because I feel like it's so closely linked with the nervous system. And by regulating the nervous system, you're fixing some of the energetics. Okay. And when we are aligned, when we are regulated, we will manifest things quicker because we're doing the right things. We're able to make the decisions. We're in the right energy, in the right space to be able to do it. And so things will naturally fall into place. And they're falling into place not out of thin air, but out of the actions and the things that you're able to show up and do, and also the energy in which you are being through the nervous system piece. Number 6 is more creativity, which I mentioned a little bit before. So your mind is going to feel a lot more calm and clear. And this is going to allow you to not have to force creativity and then shame yourself when you think you can't think of anything, like when your mind is blank or you're sitting there like, I don't know what my ideal client wants to hear, right? So, and I have noticed this a lot this year. There's been plenty of times where I have gone on walks. I've been, and I've said this before on the podcast, depending on what episodes you've listened to and stuff, but walking with nothing in your ears can be really supportive to kind of clear out the clutter, clear out your mind. And that I find has helped me, like moving my body more and having the space and the time and the space in my days, taking some of that pressure off myself, which I can do because I'm regulated. That is helping me with my creativity. I don't have to put as much of the pressure on myself to like push and perform and show up. And when that's been a big piece of my nervous system journey over this last year, is just that creativity piece has been there, where normally in the past I wouldn't have the creativity. I would just be sitting there staring at a blank page on my computer and being like, or staring at inspiration of other people and then feeling bad about myself because I can't think of those things and I don't want to copy people, right? And so creativity naturally shows up when you're in more of a flow state, when you're in that more regulated space with the capacity to, move in and out of these different states. You're just naturally going to find yourself more creative, more ideas, and you're going to feel inspired and capable of taking action on those ideas instead of staying stuck with them. Number 7 is attracting more aligned clients. So Your nervous system state is the energy of which you bring into your business. And the more reactive, limited, and acting from a place of pressure that you come from is what's going to dictate what you attract. So if we are trying to push people to make sales, or we're afraid that people aren't going to buy, we're going to attract people with questions of like, oh, well, how much is this? I don't know if I can afford this, all that kind of stuff, because we're kind of putting that energy out there because we don't think they're going to buy. Right? And so we have to have this belief, but we also have to have the regulation. And this is where tools and those sorts of things can be really important, especially when you're trying to reach new heights, reach new goals in your business. But the nervous system piece is going to help you stay in that embodiment of who you are, what you're trying to attract, what you're trying to be, right? We talked about that manifesting earlier with like your visions and your goals and your dreams. That gets to happen, and you get to attract the dream clients that you actually want to work with, the people who are going to do the work, the people who are like obsessed with you, love what you do. And part of that is because you're magnetic, because you're in a healthy energy. You're not stressed out and freaking out and like low vibe. And not that you can't have bad days, because you can. That doesn't mean you're low vibe, right? But you have a good energy, a good aura, a healthy aura of you. And that gets to attract. It makes you more open to receiving. And it also, you're vibrating on a certain frequency where those things have to match your energy to be able to come into. So the higher you are, the better you are, the more balanced you are, the more harmonious you are, aligned, we'll say, regulated, right? All these things kind of overlap. The more you're going to attract that type of person as well. I don't know if you guys have ever had, and I've had this in my life, where I've had a lot of I have like one very good friend that I've had since high school. And all of my other friends have kind of like, depending on the schools and the programs and the things that I've done in my life, I've kind of like grabbed little friends here and there. And so I've had a lot of changeover and transition in my friend groups. And one thing that I've noticed is like every friend group that I've now started to go into, my connections are deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And it's because I'm evolving, I'm growing. And then my interests are changing. And as I've gotten older, as I've gotten more into my own journey, my own growth, I've become more comfortable with who I am as a person and my beliefs. And so I've attracted people with, similar, not even similar beliefs, but just similar interests. And I feel like that is like essentially also like how we attract clients. Our clients will evolve and grow with us over time because it's the energy and the frequency of what we're putting out into the world. It's the same sort of thing. So these are all the ways, or just not all the ways, but some of the ways, 7 of the ways that your business can start improving when you have a regulated nervous system. And there's signs and side effects of like when you start noticing these things, you're on the right track and you're doing the right thing. So if you want to feel these things in your business and you're not yet, it's time to work on your nervous system, because your nervous system is going to be the thing that allows these things to happen and helps put you in the right mindset, the right space to be able to take the action, receive, and go for the things and attract the things that you desire to have in your business and in your life. It doesn't even have to be just business related. It's honestly your life in general. I would love to help you get these results. This is what I obviously do. This is what I work with women on when it comes to their business. I'm going to have something special opening up in the next couple weeks, in the month of November here. And if you want to know what that is and get the details early, shoot me a message. I haven't quite decided when exactly I'm launching it. I feel like it's going to be like mid to late November. I kind of almost want to do like a Black Friday sale. So we'll see. I have to figure out when Black Friday is. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I feel like Black Friday has become like 8 weeks long. And so I don't actually know the date anymore. But I'm going to look that up, and I would like to potentially do a Black Friday sale. So if you want to know what's happening, what the details are, and you want to have a conversation about this, since it's something that you're really maybe struggling with or that you want to work on, DM me on Instagram. That's probably the easiest. Message me on Instagram. My Instagram link will be down in the show notes here. If you don't follow me on Instagram, if you follow me on Instagram, message me. Just be like, hey, I listened to your podcast. You said there's something special coming. What's happening? Or you can just even DM me waitlist, something like that, right? But we can have a conversation. I'll let you know kind of what's going on. We can chat. We can talk about things. No pressure at all. I want these results for you, but I also want to make sure that you and I are aligned to work with each other, because that makes both my experience and your experience a good one. And so I want this to be just as supported and beneficial for you. So if you're interested in working with that, feel free to message me if you want to work with me. I do also have my free Reset Your Hustle podcast series. So it's separate from this podcast. It is a 6-part series. The episodes are like under 20 minutes. And it walks you through working with your nervous system, how the different states, how you can start to shift it, what you can start to look for and move through. So if you're not quite ready to maybe work with me, there is that option and my quiz that are available for you as well. So those will all be in the show notes here as well. So other than that, I believe that's everything. Thank you guys for being here as always. Greatly appreciated. If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to let me know. Feel free to share it with somebody that you feel might resonate with this. And yeah, can't wait to hear from you guys. If you guys have any also things you want to know about, feel free to DM me of just like, hey, can you do a podcast episode on something like this? You know what I mean? I'm always open to those suggestions and those sorts of things if I feel like they're supportive for the group and the collective. So yeah. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you for being here as always, and I will see you in next week's episode.